Dear mama, I wish you would have showed me. Dear daddy, I wish you would have loved me. Dear mama, I wish you would have showed me. Dear daddy, I wish you would have loved me. Show me how to love, show me how to care, show me how to love that woman over there. Show me how to love, show me how to care, show me how to love that woman over there. It's her into the world of not knowing.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the I Speak conference. I am your host, Sheena Gadon, and I thank you for tuning in. Today, as always, we are here for the domestic violence and the breast cancer awareness. And today, I have Miss Monique in the building. How are we doing today, Monique? How are we
Hey
doing?
sis, we
Hey,
are
hey,
well,
hey.
we are well. Hey. It's nice to finally see your face and be in the place. Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor to be here.
It's absolutely an honor to have you here. So, I'm going to go in the back, and you get to bless the people with your testimony.
All right. Hello, everybody. I am Monique Jewell. I'm an author, podcaster, special needs mom, and a part of Children in the Pear Tree. And so I am here today to be as transparent as I can to share my DV story. And I'm going to take you back a little bit because you're going to see why a lot of this matters. I grew up in quite a drug infested neighborhood in a small knit community on 21st Street Northeast. Everybody used to call 21st in Vietnam. My mom was addicted to drugs, but she was a functioning correctional officer. And during that time, because she could not handle raising a special needs son with autism and things like that, I suffered abuse at the hands of her, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. Fast forward to some years later, grew up, went, got through high school without getting pregnant and all of those things, and met a young man after I graduated high school through a mutual friend of ours. We began to date, and we were thick as thieves. We were like this. And you didn't see me without him, and vice versa. We ended up eventually getting married. We had our first son, and things were going great. We had never necessarily had so much as a real heated argument until one fine day we were arguing about something. And I can't remember exactly what it was. We were staying with his mom at the time. Matter of fact, we pretty much stayed with his mom the duration of the marriage, just about. Um, and we were in the bedroom talking, and they're downstairs in the backyard having a cookout. The music's going. You could hear the laughter and all that because the window was open. And here we are upstairs having a heated argument. And it might have been over money because at that time we were struggling. We had, a young child, and a lot of different things was going on with us. And I remember saying, no, I'm not going to do something. And I went to walk out of the room, and he grabbed me by my wrist. I mean, he grabbed me and snatched me so hard, he nearly broke my wrist. And I think for both of us, we were both shocked. We both stood there in dead silence for a minute because I think it was the first time we realized that there was some things that was going on that we really needed to talk about that we did not, address prior to marriage. Um, and I was angry. I was like, "You lucky, your your family is downstairs. I would have kicked you out this window." I because of the way I grew up, because I grew up in violence, around violence, and I was, a victim of child abuse. It triggered me all over again. In the Black community, we don't go to therapy. We don't talk about stuff, and that's a problem. We didn't go to therapy back then. It was frowned upon. We didn't go to therapy or counseling or anything like that unless somebody diagnosed us as schizophrenic or truly crazy. We didn't do that. We didn't go to counselors. We didn't talk about things. We might have brought it up, and then it was just like swept under the rug. Then we were moving on. My mother didn't take me to therapy after I went through the abuse. Matter of fact, she didn't even go to therapy. And so here I am years later having this flashback after my then husband literally tried to break my wrist because I didn't want to argue, and I turned and walked away from him. Needless to say, we went on about our day as if nothing ever happened, which most couples do. Most people do. We wash our face if we're crying, and we go out there smile as if nothing's happening. And Some time went on. We went on in the marriage, and it got to a point where I was the only one who was doing anything in the marriage that was causing it to thrive. I was working. I was trying to, make money to pay bills. I was going to school. He would literally go out every day like he was going to work and never produce a paycheck. There were times when we would just sit there in dead silence and just have dinner or whatever, and I wouldn't say anything to him. It just got to the point where it was unhealthy. And once we finally came to some agreement, or so I thought, we moved into our first place. Now, y'all know back in the day, working for the federal government, if you didn't have no experience, you didn't make that much money. I was under the Welfare to Work program, and I think they paid like $6 an hour. What you gonna do with that? Somehow I managed to keep a 1 bedroom apartment for us for about 3 or 4 months. I was literally working and giving all of my paycheck to the apartment, to the utilities, and the groceries. And I'm wondering, where is he? Because he's going out the door every day with a uniform on, like he's going to work. We got into an argument. And I said, well, what do you think I'm supposed to do? Here I am, trying to hold the fort down and all of that kind of stuff. And you're just doing whatever you're doing while I'm at work. I can't do it all. I'm not Superwoman. And, we exchanged words. We weren't cursing or anything like that. We exchanged words. I went to go hang something in the closet. And I said, what else do you want me to do? I'm only one person. And all I remember is being shoved into the closet and the door slamming. At this time, my oldest son was toddler age, maybe 1.5, and I heard him go, "Mommy, mommy," and walking, trying to, come to the closet. My heart is racing. I'm sweating. I'm like, here we go. And I'm literally praying, y'all, because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. Now you done triggered me twice. And I'm trying not to do what my mind is telling me to do because I know my baby is in here. And I heard him at the door and I stood there. I didn't come out because I didn't want to exacerbate the situation. And so once I did that, I stood there. I didn't say anything. I didn't move. I didn't do anything. That angered him even more. So he snatches the closet open and he moves our son out the way. He snatches the closet open and then tried to snatch me out of the closet. And I mean, he snatched me with such force that my neck went like this. I had one of those, y'all know those Tonka trucks, those really big Tonka trucks, the T-top, the all steel joint from back in the day. I had one of those from my childhood. I took that truck and I hit him so hard I thought I killed him. And it was at that moment that I knew that something had to change because I promised myself that I was not going to suffer at the hands of anybody else after I suffered abuse with my mom and then watching her be abused by almost every man she was with. I was like, I'm not going to be her. And so we subsequently end up moving back with his mom and, got settled again. We had 2 kids by this time. And our youngest one was born early for, preterm labor and all those kinds of things. He was 2 pounds and 1 ounce. He was diagnosed with cerebral palsy later on, but during that time, he was just so small. He needed a lot of care. So attentions were high. We had 2 kids, newlyweds. I think during that time, my maternal grandmother had passed while I was pregnant with Jeremiah. So there was a whole heck of a lot going on. And I'm not excusing any of it. Please don't mistake me. I'm not excusing the behaviors or any of that, but I'm just giving context. So we were trying to get ourselves together, get our money together or whatever we were trying to do. I don't even think we were in the mind space of going to therapy and counseling at that point. We were trying to make things work because we had a small family, we had small kids. And he eventually did go back to work. I was at home with Jeremiah and he went back to work. One fine day, I get a phone call and I'm cleaning up and things like that. And this was the last straw, you guys. I get a phone call from his job and they say, "Hello, is this Ms. Dool?" I say, "Yes." They say, "Hi, this is such and so from da 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 da. We're calling to give you our condolences." I'm thinking something happened to my husband, so I'm screaming at this point, y'all. And I'm like, what happened? Where is he okay? Is my husband okay? She said, "Oh, your husband's perfectly fine. We're calling to give you condolences in the death of your son Jeremiah." What? I'm holding Jeremiah in my arms while I'm on the phone talking to this supervisor. Death? What do you mean? Wait. I said, sir, wait, back this up. I said, what did he tell you? I said, because Jeremiah is right here. I pinched him. I said, listen, I pinched Jeremiah, made him cry. And he said, is that the baby? I said, yes. He said, well, was he born early and all that stuff? He asked me all these questions. And I said, yes, sir, he was born early. And we did lose him at one point. He had to be resuscitated, yes. But he is alive and well. Do you want me to get in the car and bring him down there so you can see him? He said, I need to talk to you. Give me a minute. I'm going to leave him in my office. I'm going to call you back. I could not believe on the other end of the phone, hearing this supervisor tell me that they had given him money, bereavement money, to help us bury him because we didn't have money. Now, granted, we didn't have money, but Jeremiah was alive and well. They had offered to give him, despite the fact that he had not been there long enough, to give him a death policy of $10,000. But they needed a death certificate. Just when I thought it could not get any worse, ladies and gentlemen, it got worse. I sat there for 15 minutes trying to explain to his supervisor what was going on, what was happening. Then he passes him the phone, and what literally took me out, y'all, that knocked the whole wind, breath, and everything else out of me was my husband on the other end of the phone saying, hey, hun, how are you? Can you send them the funeral home information for Jeremiah? What? Can I do what? How? First of all, my thinking, I told the supervisor, I said, sir, that you had to know he was lying, because what parent does not know where their child's body is if they pass away, grief or not? He says to me, can you send over the information from the funeral home to the supervisor, because they're going to help us bury Jeremiah? I I didn't know what to do, y'all. That was the final straw for me. That let me know that somewhere in his mind that he had just lost all touch with reality. I don't know if it was due to the stress of the marriage, having, a kid born so early and having to, deal with all of the cares that he was going to need or whatever. I'm suffering too. However, I would never try to defraud the government for no money and possibly be thrown in jail to commit fraud. He sat there and cried like our son was dead and still went on with the story. I kept saying, why are you doing this? Tell these people the truth. Tell them, and tell them now. Because you're about to get us thrown in jail for something I had no idea was happening. And I still have the paperwork to this day, because that's how I got full custody of our children when we got a divorce. I all I knew was I was not going to be home when he got there after that. Now, mind you, when you have a special needs kid and they're that small, they're not supposed to be out in the elements and things like that because of risk of RSV and, all of those kinds of things that is similar to COVID. I wrapped my kids up. I called my aunt. I shoved everything in the car that I could shove. I said, whatever's left is just going to be left, because I'm not coming back. I left with my kids in tow and the clothes that we had on our backs, and the rest is history. Did I go through some stuff? Yes. We were homeless. We lived in a domestic violence shelter for about 3 or 4 months, where we were treated like drug addicts, because they had the all-in-one shelters where the people who were on drugs and going through the drug treatment program had to do the same things as I had to do in the domestic violence part. I had to go to classes and stuff like that, and I ended up getting excused from the classes because they did not have care for Jeremiah, and so I couldn't go. I had to be home by 10 o'clock during the week and midnight during the weekend, and if I wasn't going to be home, I had to show why. I was treated like a criminal with my kids. We had a lovely apartment, yes. We were out and all of those kinds of things, but it didn't stop there. his anger got worse because he realized that the marriage was going to be over. And so um, he would do things like just show up and be like, give me my kids type thing and all of that sort of stuff. And it got to the point where I filed for the ex parte order and I did, supervised visit with his mom until I realized his mom would be there long enough for them to show up and she would leave. And she knew that I had an ex parte order and she was not supposed to leave. So these are the things that I went through, and after that, he would come and bring them back, and I knew he was coming because I could hear him before I saw him. You could hear him speeding down the street. One day, I heard a slam, and I thought he was slamming the door. I look outside, you guys. He takes them out of the car, and Jeremiah was still in the car seat. My oldest son was not. He's standing there at the gate where we lived at because I had a little slide door gate. He slams the car seat on the ground with Jeremiah in it and throws the bag, the diaper bag and stuff up against the glass and all that kind of stuff, gets in the car and scurries off. This particular day, however, what he didn't know was I had company. My best friends was there. And so her husband went outside and he almost got to him before he could pull off because he was going to snatch him up. Because of how he was like, dude, I don't care how mad you are. You don't do that to your kids. What's your problem? And I'm saying this in a colorful way because that's not what he said. He pretty much, cursed him out and some more things. And so I wasn't afraid that he was going to hurt me or anything like that. I was afraid of what he was going to end up doing to himself because I had never seen him like that. And all of the times we dated, all of the days we spent together doing things, I had never seen him that way. And so the level of anger that he had after we were going through the divorce and separation terrified me. Did I think about going back? Yes, because here I was, a single mom, which is something I never wanted to do. I didn't want to be a single mom like my mom and have my kids over here and their father over there. I didn't want to do all of that. I didn't want to have multiple kids by multiple men, and I did not. After I had those two, I didn't have any more kids. I didn't want to go through all of that. And so to go through that experience and not realizing how your children are affected. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, your children are affected whether they can talk or not, whether they could comprehend what's going on or not. When I finally got through the divorce and went through the separation and started to date again and things like that, my oldest son was not comfortable with that. Every time a man would sit next to me, he would squeeze himself in between us to make sure I was safe. If a man tried to hug me, he had to stand between us to make sure. I had to literally say, okay, I'm okay. Mommy's okay. It's okay. He's just giving me a hug. It's okay. He's just holding my hand. He processed it in a way that he could understand. And so throughout that whole process, going through that experience and having CPS come in and things like that, because I let him take them, and my son came back with a bruise on his little chest. I wanted to kill him. Of course I did. But I thought about my children. And so, listen, they have supports out here to help you, to get you, to take you to safety where you need to be. Please don't stay in that. It's not worth it. Listen, I was tormented by the guilt of going through the divorce. I was tormented, about my own fears of being a single mother. I was tormented all over again from recollections of childhood abuse and sexual assault and all of those things. All of that triggered all of those things in me. I had never gone to therapy prior to that. And when I went to therapy, I didn't even go for that. I went to therapy because they said I was suffering from PTSD from having a special needs kid. And the whole, issue of dealing with that and having to deal with it alone and all of the surgeries and things like that he had to have. They said I was traumatized. And so unpacking all of that in therapy, to find out that all of these things are connected. You go through the child abuse, you carry it with you, you don't say nothing. People may know, they may not know, they sweep it under the rug. You learn how to lie and keep secrets. Then you go through the marriage or whatever, you smile and act like everything is okay. And somewhere in the back of your head, you're crying yourself to sleep at night and all of that, still trying to keep a brave face. You go to church and stuff and hope that God hears your prayers and all that kind of stuff and rescues you and try to overcome the embarrassment and the I told you so's. Let me tell y'all something. Family can be the worst when it comes to support. They are the first ones that can't wait to tell you how right they were. How right they were when they told you not to do a thing, not to go here, not to go there, not to marry him. They are the first ones. They can't wait. It's like they're sitting in the shadows, wringing their hands, going, this is what we tried to tell you. Okay, you told me, thank you. I mean, what relevance does that have at this point? We've already gone through the trauma. We've already gone through the things that we had to go through. So how helpful is that comment and why? And so through this whole process of being in the shelter and going through the divorce process, I literally ended up on psychiatric hold at PG Hospital in Maryland. I'll never forget it. I was in the psych. They put me in the psych ward, y'all, because they were just like, you're suffering from trauma, and we're afraid that you're going to hurt yourself or your children. And it wasn't that. I'm literally crying, trying to tell them that I need help. I'm not fighting nobody. I'm not, cutting my wrist or anything. I'm literally just making a call saying, hey, I'm feeling these feelings that I never felt before because I suffered trauma. They sent the police to come get me. They literally put me in handcuffs in front of my kids. That was the most embarrassing part. Having my son to look at me like, mommy, just looking at me in fear, not knowing what's happening. Walking out of the complex, where everybody's staring at you like, what did she do? Because I'm just as calm. And I'm telling the neighbors there, that I bonded with. Thank God for my neighbors. They were a godsend. They knew who to call to pick my kids up. So I was there. I was in there for what seemed like an eternity. I don't know if it was a week. I don't know if it was a couple of days. But if you're not really crazy and insane, that is not a place you want to be in. I had to sit there and watch people say the same things over and over again, climb the walls, scream, pick at their hair, pick their skin off, all of those things. I was in there with the most traumatic of the people who were suffering from mental detachment. And I was treated like one of them. They gave me pills. I don't even know what they were. They checked under my tongue and all that stuff that you see on TV. Yeah, they do all of that. They made sure I didn't have shoestrings and all of these kinds of things. I mean, that was just as traumatic, even though it's supposed to be helping me. And I was like, why am I even here? Just because I said I was going through depression. They didn't have a lot of the services back then that they have now back in the early 90s. It wasn't a thing. Mental, illness wasn't a thing back then. And when my grandmother came to see me and I had to look at her through the glass and talk to her, they did allow her to come and give me a hug at the end, but that's not the point. I had to look at her through the glass like I was in prison. I was like, no, I can't do it. Enough was enough. So even if I did reconsider going back to the marriage, it was a done deal at that point. So I did the work. Y'all. Was it easy? No. We had to stay in the shelter alone, no car, no job, no income. We had to start from zero, ground zero. We really didn't have anybody that we could stay with for obvious reasons and things like that. When you go through these kinds of things, nobody really wants to get involved because they don't know. They don't know what the other person is going to do. And that's what the fear is. They know you, but they don't know what this joker is going to do. So they didn't want to get involved, and I understood it. My mom was like, because if he come over here, I'm gonna kill him. And so, we had a bit of a rough patch trying to get settled, but we got settled. We ended up getting housing voucher, and so we got our own place. We rebuild, and during that time, um, things were looking positive and stuff like that. And my simple butt decided that, okay, he's acting okay. Maybe if we go to therapy, it will be decent. That lasted about a week or two because the anger was still there with him. And once I saw that, I was like, nope, I'm doing the right thing. So with tears in my eyes, two small kids, therapies and appointments everywhere, with no nothing, I took my life back. I took my life back. I asked God while I was in the shelter. I held my kids and I sat on the floor and I said, God, listen, I don't know how did I get here, but I heard that you are a way maker and you can get me out. And so I'm asking you to help me to turn away from these things, because if not, somebody's going to die. And I told God, I said, God, I need you to rescue me because my kids don't have nobody else but me. And my babies, God made sure my babies was well cared for. My grandmother was there for every monumental moment that I had, and I love her for that. She's gone on to be with God now, but she was there day one. And she would just sit there and hold me and let me cry sometimes. She would just sit there and rub my hand and hum because she was praying and intercede. Listen, I literally had a praying grandmother. And so going through that experience, once I decided to finally leave once and for all, when I say that we never went hungry, we never went hungry. When we were in the shelter, there was a guy there who had 7 kids of his own, and he was trying to get food stamps. I'll never forget it. His name is Shalimar, and I never seen him after this. He came in my house one day, looked at my cabinets, and go, "What we gonna eat?" He looked at my cabinets, and he's like, "Where's the food?" I'm like, "We don't have none. I'm supposed to go to the store, or whatever." He's like, "No, we going to the store now. You need to get, we ended up going to the store." This man had thousands of dollars in food stamps because they took too long to give him his food stamps for his 7 kids. He filled up my fridge and cabinets, his fridge and cabinets, and another neighbor. He said, "No, I am going to do this for you because this is what God gave it to me for. There's no way I'm going to eat all this money worth of food." He said, "Here's your card. Get whatever you want. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how much of it you need. And whatever's left, then you're not going to spend this much money." He never told me how much it was. He said, "Trust me, you're not going to overspend." And so when we got up to the register, he said, "That's all?" He said, "Don't you need more stuff?" I said, "Yeah, but I can wait." He said, "No." I said, "Get everything." He went and got another cart, filled it up. I had so much food, y'all. I had no room for nothing. God met us at every step. It doesn't, listen, when you go through trials and tribulations, there are some things you're going to have to walk through. There's going to be some things you have to walk through, but when you do, and you do it with God, God will bring you to a place of healing and wholeness. Is it easy? No. Are you going to cry? Yes. Is it going to hurt? Yes. Are people going to understand you? No. So by the time I got divorced and things like that, I had to start my life over again. And I did it. I did it. I did it with my kids being cared for by my grandmother while I went to work all week. I didn't see my kids until the weekend. I didn't see them till the weekend. But I did it. It was sacrifice. That was better to me than staying somewhere that wasn't healthy for me or them. And I wanted them to see that this is not what a healthy relationship or marriage looks like. This is what I don't want you to go through when you grow up and start to date. And so I did the work. I made it through it. We went to court. That was the shortest divorce court case I think I have ever seen. I think I said maybe two things, showed the judge the paperwork. She said the pronouncement of divorce, put the gavel down. Well, no, before that, she did ask for a witness, and I had a witness or whatever. Put the gavel down, and it was done. I was free, but I wasn't, not in my heart, in my spirit, because I had to grieve the loss of my marriage. I didn't get married with the plan on getting a divorce, so I had to grieve it. I didn't go to therapy, not immediately. I didn't, because we don't do that. You know, we go through things, you just deal with it, be strong and get over it. But I didn't get over it. And so for the next few years, I was in some stupid relationships because I did not know my worth. I wanted my kids to have a father that was going to love them. Now I wasn't in an abusive situation or anything like that, but it just wasn't the relationship I should have been in. And so I had to learn self-love. And so once I shut everybody out, shut everybody off, got along with God and said, okay, God, I'm tired of going in these circles. Something's not right. I had to do the work. So I went to counseling and therapy. Did I take medicine? No. Because when they first put me on it, I was a zombie. I didn't cook, I didn't clean, I didn't do anything. I was a zombie. And I couldn't do that with the level of care that my sons needed. I couldn't do it. So I said, no, we're going to talk it out. Give me the strategies. Tell me how I'm supposed to handle when I have these ambushes of grief and all these kinds of things. And I did the work. So here we are in 2022. I've written about 6 books now, 6 books in. How do I handle special needs child, handicapped mom, lessons I learned through cerebral palsy, Jeremiah the Jackrabbit, The Power of God, Daily Devotional 2 for Women is a co-write, 50 Shades of Love, A Healing Journey to Self-Love, that's a co-write. Grief is a Gangster, which is the grief book where I talk about losing my grandmother and my sister 2 weeks apart last year. I did my work. I went through burnout, caregiver burnout, was depressed, suicidal, yes, all of those things. I was like, it just be easier for me to die and take my kids with me, then I don't have to suffer and do all this. But there was something on the inside of me that I just couldn't give up, y'all. I just couldn't do it. And I sincerely believe in my whole heart that it was the seed of righteousness that was planted inside of me by my grandmother. It was God. It was God, because it certainly wasn't me. I was done. I didn't want nothing to do with life or anything or anybody. I was done. But I took all of that and made it into something beautiful. The books are beautiful. The people that I get to minister to and reach is beautiful. The podcast, Having a Moment with Moni, is beautiful. I get to tell people what life is really like, taking care of a special needs son and a special needs brother with autism that nobody wanted after my mother passed away. I say to you tonight who are watching and listening to this, there's a scripture that I always love, and it says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers out of them all. He does. But you have to do your part. God is not a genie in a bottle that you just get to rub when you get in trouble to rescue you. You have to do your part. He does his well. If you are facing this situation, and it starts so subtle, it could be something as simple as making a comment that they shouldn't make, to try to belittle you or something. It could be something as simple as shoving you and then go, I'm just playing. No, they're not. So they cursing you out and you know, degrading you and things like that. You never could do anything right and all these kinds of things. Time to go. Don't investigate. Don't stick around to find out what's next, because it does not get better. It doesn't get better. Days can go by and it doesn't get better, because you have to understand that they are suffering from some sort of trauma. and breaching their spirit. And you can love them all day, all night, all week, all year. It's not going to solve the problem. They have to get help. They have to get healed. They have to get free. And the only way that you can do that is through Christ. You're not going to be able to do it on your own. So even if you try it, it won't even be a temporary fix because you won't last long. Take your life back. Love yourself enough to know that you are worth it. You are worth love. You are worth healing. You are worth being safe and and being in a positive and loving environment. You don't have to deal with that. You don't. Do what you can to escape. And God makes a way of escape. I'm a witness to that. God makes a way of escape. And when you're gone, please don't go back. Because then you're confusing the other person. You're sending mixed signals, which only exacerbates what's already in them. You just irritate and aggravate that spirit in them even more to act and respond to you the way that it does. Take your life back. I love you guys. Thank you for sis for allowing me to share my story and my journey. It has been a journey, and I'm still here to tell you about it. God is so good and God is so faithful. And so if you guys, want to know more about me, my link tree is linktr.ee/Monique Duell, Duell. I am on social media everywhere. I'm on the Wisdom app, Monique Duell, Facebook, Monique Duell, and Disability. Let me stick a pin there. Yes, Disability LLC is the business that I have where I give resources and supports to parents and families and caregivers here in PG County or anywhere for that matter who have special needs, who don't know how to get particular services that they may need or whatever. I kind of navigate them. So I do a little bit of everything, a little bit of advocacy. During the holidays, we give away Thanksgiving and Christmas baskets and things of that nature. So stay tuned for that. I'm on Instagram, Miss D Reign, MSDEEREIGN. My books are on Amazon. You can go on Amazon and type in Monique Duell. You'll see everything. Y'all shoot me a line. I do respond. If you reach out to me on social media, I do respond to everybody, even if it's not the same day. So I love you guys. I pray that my story bless someone and that you take your power back.
See, I'm always muting myself.
There we go.
It was awesome having you on the platform. Your story was a blessing, and I'm hoping people that heard it are sharing it because there's someone out there that needed to hear it.
Thank
And
you so
somebody
much.
that is attached to it. Did you see the message where somebody told you to shed those tears?
Yes, I saw that. I said, y'all don't want me ugly cry up here.
But it was, and it's tears of joy. It was not the tears of, yes.
It's gratitude.
Nothing but grace. But grace.
And listen, y'all better understand. Grace. I am here because of grace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still standing because of grace. Matter of fact, right. I'm alive because of grace.
Right.
Not because it's something Monique did, because like I told you, I gave up a long time ago.
But it wasn't time for you to give up.
No, God would. He wasn't having it. Every time I try to throw my towel, he's like, "You back again?"
Right. Yep. Like, nope, get on back out there.
Like, nope,
it ain't work to do.
You got work to do. And so I honor God for his faithfulness to us. And I love my boys. Shout out to my babies. I love y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with your mama and growing up with your mama. I know that, we've been through some stuff that is a lifetime movie, but God has brought us through it and we are doing well.
That is awesome. Now, do you have any upcoming events that you would like them to tune into?
Oh, I got well, yeah, a lot.
I'm about to say, I know
Well,
you
look,
speak in a few places, ma'am.
yeah. Listen, I have mom brain, so I just went blank. But
It's all
while
right,
I
I
think
got you.
about that, next Saturday, glory be to God, I am getting the Lady of Liberty Award
Nice.
for my for my community work and things like that, and helping parents and caregivers. And so I thank Sisters Incorporated, I believe is what they call it. I don't want to say the name wrong because I got mom brain, y'all.
Right.
I have want to cry and have, but Miss Lois Jones Smith and her organization saw fit to honor me, and so I am so excited about that. I am speaking on a few things, you guys. So just join my pages because I don't have the dates in my head to tell you, but there's a few all this month. Tomorrow, On Your Fly. Tomorrow, I am one of the panelists on Your Fly, and that's going to be broadcast, I think, on my Facebook page as well, where I'm speaking about dealing with a medically fragile kid, special needs parenting, that sort of thing.
Right.
I am doing another domestic violence show with Tina Durbin podcast, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. I am going to be on Coach Venetia Williams' show. I am doing the Worship Room. And yeah.
Are you speaking at
I'm so sorry, y'all.
the Sister Success Conference, or are you a
No,
finalist? You're a finalist.
I'm a finalist.
Listen,
I
I know
did.
I saw your picture because I'm an ambassador. So I was like, I know I saw your picture for something. I
Okay,
remember if it was
yeah,
speaker or finalist, but
yeah.
see,
I am a finalist. I wasn't asked to speak, so thank God for the opportunity to be nominated with all of
right.
these powerful women. Just being
Mhm.
all of this around all these powerful, positive women really inspires me. A lot of people say they're inspired by me. I'm inspired by you guys. I mean, I glean from you guys just as much as you glean from me. So thank you to everybody who supports having a moment with Moni and all of the things that I've been doing lately. Excuse me. God is opening up some big doors, and so yeah, I announce all of it on all of my pages. So you guys stay tuned because I can't. There's so many dates for the rest of this month into November. I can't even run down the line with all of you
I
guys,
know
but
all about that.
yeah, yeah. So it's a couple of podcasts and radio shows and things of that nature where I'm sharing my story and what's happening. So stay tuned for that, you guys. I love
Yes,
you
yes,
guys.
yes. So, guys, I thank y'all for tuning in to Monique's story. If you didn't catch the whole thing, go back and get the replay because I'm telling you, y'all gonna shed tears with her if y'all didn't share it already. So make sure y'all share, y'all comment, y'all tell a friend that might needs to hear this story. It's somebody out there that's attached to what she's talking about. So Monique, I thank you for coming on here. We have our next conference again on the 23rd. So please join us again. And if you
Yes,
didn't catch
ma'am.
the first two, go back and watch the replays. They are
Yes, go back
in
and watch their replays. They were powerful.
they are in my Powering My Voice page. They are on my YouTube. So they're around. There's no reason you shouldn't catch them. And I'll make sure I share them on my main page. But I thank y'all for always tuning in, always supporting, and continue to support everybody that's on and the friends that you don't know. Make a friend and network. I'm telling you, it's time to get to know
Yes,
people.
network. I'm telling you, that's how you get out there and you share your story. That's how I met you. So I thank God for social media. We're here now. So you're stuck with me.
Absolutely. Hey, listen. We are in it to win it, and we're here to bring the word to domestic violence and breast cancer
Yes.
awareness. I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a great night.
Not anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. Guess what? Not anymore. I have grown from the broken pieces. I have learned to love me when no one else loved me. I I have learned that I will never settle for in my life or my peaceful atmosphere. I have learned the difference between love, lust of a good relationship. Yes, I wasn't perfect, but I learned to work on my mind, my body, and my soul connections. Yes, I have allowed the wrong spiritual around me. Now I've learned about the not allowing the negative energy around me. Yes, I've been down the road of destruction. Now I've learned how to not move by emotion, but by the spirit of my faith and purpose. Not anymore, my fears will not keep me from being a better version of me. Not anymore, my toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore, my lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness and so should you.